I do not believe there is any real prospect of this peace plan coming to fruition. Only if Ukraine felt that its position was about to collapse, which is certainly not in prospect. I can tell you that, having talked to a lot of people in Kiev, might Ukraine be willing to accept anything that Russia demands. So I don't see this peace plan going anywhere. In the meantime, we have the mystery of the leaks, and it's worth asking. No one seems to know the answer. Who leaked this? Where did that come from? And will there be more leaks to come?
Now let's get the latest on the negotiations to try to end the war in Ukraine. President Trump has defended his special envoy, Steve Witkoff, after a leaked recording appeared to show him coaching a Russian official on how to manage the US president.
Well, I haven't heard it, no, but that's a standard thing, because he's got to sell this to Ukraine. He's got to sell Ukraine to Russia. That's what a deal maker does. You got to say, look, they want this. You got to convince them with this. That's a very standard form of negotiation. I haven't heard it, but I heard it was standard negotiation. And I would imagine he's saying the same thing to Ukraine, because each party has to give and take.
Well, the leaked exchanges appeared to reveal Witkoff encouraging a Russian official, Yuri Yushakov, to flatter President Trump. Witkoff has visited Moscow several times this year and will meet the Russian President Vladimir Putin again next week. The original 28-point US peace plan for Ukraine, which appeared to accept all of Russia's demands, has been amended. But a Kremlin spokesman, Dmitry Peskov, has denied that Russia has dropped any demands and said that it's premature to talk about a deal anytime soon. Well, let's talk to Dr. Nigel Gould-Davies. He's a senior fellow for Russia and Eurasia at the International Institute for Strategic Studies and a former UK ambassador to Belarus. And he joins us tonight from Kyiv. Good evening to you, Nigel.
Good evening, Carol.
Well, thank you for staying up so late, and I do hope that it's a quiet night there in Kyiv.
Thank you. I'd rather be up talking to you than down in the basement for an air raid. It was a very heavy night a couple of nights ago, but so far all quiet on the Eastern Front.
Well, that's good to hear. Let me ask you first of all about the leaked exchanges that we've heard between Steve Witkoff and Yuri Yushakov, who's a senior Russian official. President Trump said, well, look, this is just the way you go about a deal. How did you read it?
Yes, well, President Trump didn't really correctly characterize what was going on there. He suggested that it was a matter of Witkoff mediating between Russia and Ukraine, but that's not what the conversation was about. So this was Witkoff talking to, as you say, Yuri Ushakov, who's, not merely a Russian official, he's President Putin's chief foreign policy advisor. And in effect, you used the right word there, I think, coaching one of Putin's most important officials and advisors on how to persuade President Trump of Russia's preferred point of view. In effect, Witkoff was serving as the diplomatic advisor to the chief foreign policy official around Putin. That's an absolutely astonishing thing for him to do. He was helping Russia to negotiate with America rather than helping America to negotiate with Russia. And as a former diplomat, I have to say it's a pretty jaw-dropping development.
And he did seem to be saying, look, we know that at the end of this, there's going to be some land swaps. Well, we're going to have to talk about the future of Donbass. But let's just, you just flatter President Trump and he'll sign up to the big picture. He seemed to be trying to suggest that if you flattered President Trump into agreeing to the overall framework, they could then sort out the details.
Yeah, he's saying, here's how you get President Trump more likely to accept your proposals. It's entirely the wrong way around. He shouldn't be serving Russia's interests. He should be serving America's interest. On the matter of the details, not for the first time, I have to say, Mr. Witkoff has misunderstood the essence of Russia's demands and the essence of the war. This is not and never has been in Russia's mind a matter of acquiring a little bit more territory. Peace has never been a matter of persuading Russia and Ukraine to compromise over the amount of Ukraine's territory that Russia gets. Russia is not interested in acquiring a little bit more territory. Russia is comfortably the largest country in the world. The proposed territory it would gain amounts to 0.7% of the total existing internationally recognized landmass. It's not for that that Putin has sacrificed over 1 million soldiers killed and wounded. What Putin has, frankly, historical and psychological obsession driving him is to achieve the domination and subordination of Ukraine as an independent culture and entity.
And we saw
And
that original 28-point peace plan put out by the US, which essentially, and there was a lot of suspicions that it had initiated from the Russians. I mean, it would have required big cuts to Ukraine's forces, Ukraine giving up some of its most powerful weapons, Ukraine agreeing not to have any foreign troops on its soil, Ukraine agreeing to never join NATO, accepting Russian as the official language. Now, that we know has been whittled down. We're down to a new 19-point plan. I mean, what is your understanding of where we've reached on this and the toing and froing over the various different drafts?
Yeah, so there has been this intensive diplomatic process in Geneva, as you say, between the United States and Ukrainian representatives. We haven't seen a text of the new 19-point version yet. Reports suggest it bears very little resemblance to the 28 points, which were completely unacceptable for a large number of reasons, but that the two most important issues have been deferred for decisions at the presidential level. And those are the questions of territory, firstly, and secondly, the question of a security guarantee for Ukraine. Those are by far the two most important issues. They may remain unresolved. Russia's fundamental position and Ukraine's fundamental position on both those issues remain far apart. And for that reason, I do not believe there is any real prospect of this peace plan coming to fruition. Only if Ukraine felt that its position was about to collapse, which is certainly not in prospect, I can tell you that having talked to a lot of people in Kiev, might Ukraine be willing to accept anything that Russia demands. So I don't see this peace plan going anywhere. In the meantime, we have the mystery of the leaks, and it's worth asking. No one seems to know the answer. Who leaked this? Where did that come from? And will there be more leaks to come?
Well, that is a fascinating prospect, isn't it? And those of us trying to follow all the twists and turns of this, obviously hoping that we do get more leaks because it shows what's going on behind the scenes. I mean, I'm interested that you are so pessimistic about the prospect of this, of a deal ever being agreed. I mean, you're there in Kyiv, obviously been talking to people there in Ukraine. How are the Ukrainians approaching this? Because it was interesting that President Zelensky didn't outright reject that initial proposal, despite it being very, very one-sided. They said, well, let's work on this. He's got the allies on board. How do you think Ukraine is approaching this process now?
Yes, I think President Zelensky and the Ukrainians understand very well, as do the Europeans, that you never say no to President Trump. There's always this fear of antagonizing him, and therefore the risk that he'd do something dangerous if you openly contradicted him. The way to deal with President Trump is to say yes, but, or yes, and engage in the process and hope thereby to remove the worst and most objectionable parts of any sort of peace plan that he's proposing. So the fact that President Zelensky was initially positive, I don't think should be read as suggesting that he thought that there's any real prospect for this peace plan in any version leading anywhere. Meanwhile, the Ukrainians themselves, of course, they are tired after 4 years of war, but they are unbowed. Their morale remains good. There is plenty more that they can still do. It would be entirely wrong to suggest that they are in any sense close to the limits of their ability to fight. They have suffered some recent setbacks on the battlefield. They are in no sense critical, and there's no prospect of any sort of collapse. Ukrainians fight on. They understand better than any other country in the world the new ways of war. They have innovated in their technologies, in their production processes, in their weapon systems in ways that should astonish and impress us, and from which, frankly, the West and Europe in particular could learn a great deal more from. So
Okay.
Ukrainians are very ready to fight on. They understand what being occupied by Russia, what a defeat by Russia would mean for them and their families. And that's something we want to resist above all.
Dr. Nigel Gould-Davies, really good to hear from you. Thank you so much for joining us from Kyiv.
Thank you.
Dr. Nigel Gould-Davies is a senior fellow for Russia and Eurasia at the International Institute for Strategic Studies and a former British ambassador to Belarus.